Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rowan, the Lyranwitch. Today we're going to be hopping into another collective message. Please come in with the spirit of discernment. I'm reading for lots and lots of people, so make sure within your heart that you know what's for you and what isn't for you. You always know best about your own life. These messages are meant to validate and help steer you in the right direction if you've been confused about something or just needed more clarity. Just so you guys know, I am giving away 2 free readings when I hit 1,000 subscribers. To be in the running, make sure that you leave a comment and let me know what you think of the video or just that you're interested, and make sure you're subscribed. Also, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one in the meantime, you can find all of my services and booking on my website, which is lyranwitch.com. I have a crystal shop, and I also have Patreon that you can try for free for 7 days. It's $10 a month. Now, with all that being said, the messages today are pretty confusing, so we're going to hop into the dream first. I had a dream about baby horses, and specifically about what's called fairy feet, or fairy fingers, I think. And it's these, like, soft growths that happen on foals' hoofs, and it cushions the sharp hoof so that if the baby kicks whenever it's in utero, it doesn't hurt the mom. And these go away after like 2 or 3 days of the baby walking around. So they're not really something that people really talk about unless you're like really into horses, or if you work with horses. Also, the second part of the dream, I was wandering around an Egyptian pyramid. And I woke up just kind of like, how are these two things related? And whenever I asked that, this sort of collective of horse energies showed up. And I actually interact with the horse spirit as a main guide of mine. And I interact with them through many different pantheons. And Hayagriva was the one that showed up first, along with the Celtic goddess Epona. Now, these two came forward and basically said, like, this dream is about something that's being birthed into reality and how this birthing process has to be cushioned. Like, there's something that's being created or molded right now in the collective that light workers are all experiencing. And there's something that has to cushion this growth process, because it could be volatile. It could harm other things in your life, or in the life of many people. And, for Hayagriva to show up gave me a kind of continual message here. There's this idea or sense that I have that a lot of people right now are going through growing pains in regards to boundaried interactions with people that are not on the same wavelength or same frequency as they are. I thought of the mythos, I guess, around Hayagriva. He's actually the form of Shiva that incarnated as a man and later got a horse head in order to fight off a demon that was keeping wisdom from the collective, essentially, and like smearing the gods. Like almost poisoning people against the divine and telling them that the divine only had like negative intentions for them. And the way that he got his horse head is relevant to this. So what happened is there was a demon named Hayagriva, and he had a boon from the mother goddess that only another Hayagriva could kill him. So he got really high and mighty and basically started preaching that sacred wisdom was being withheld from the people because the gods were cruel, and then he started harassing all the other devas, which are like divine beings. And the devas were getting really irritated with him, and they asked Shiva, can you go and like kick this guy's ass for us? He's really causing problems, and he's just messing too many things up. So Shiva goes, not knowing about the boon that the demon has, and gets really beat up. He goes to rest from the fight and falls asleep with his head kind of like resting on a bow. And when this happened, nobody could wake him up. Everybody was trying to wake him up after, and he just kept sleeping. So the other devas, kind of wondering what was going on with him, asked the termites and the bugs to go and wake him up. The termites went and chewed through the bowstring, which then cut off his head. Now the devas started panicking, and they were like, oh my god, why did we do this? We messed up. So they prayed for help. And the mother goddess came down and was like, hey, it's actually okay, because I needed to tell you about this boon that the demon has. So there's not going to be any way to defeat him unless we have another Hayagriva. And they were like, oh, okay. And she's like, everything happens for a reason, so don't worry. We can bring him back to life. It'll be fine. So Hayagriva means horse head. And what they did is the mother goddess said, you need to put a white horse's head on Shiva's shoulders. So they did that, and he became like the god version of Hayagriva. So now we have the demon one and the god one. So Shiva had to become Hayagriva in order to defeat him, which he did. Therefore restoring balance and restoring people's faith as well in the gods and returning the Vedas to everybody. The Vedas are like the holy text, okay? It's like sacred wisdom. So what that story is about to me is about how sometimes you have to embody the energies that you're up against, that you're fighting against, in order to get to the next phase of understanding them and transmuting them. Like if you're transmuting any energy, you have to thoroughly understand that energy and be able to embody it. That's fully understanding something. Now that doesn't mean like if you're up against narcissists, becoming a narcissist, but you truly have to understand their inner workings. And sometimes whenever you are setting boundaries with people, you start embodying the energies to the degree that you're up against, because sometimes that level of intensity is necessary. If you are against somebody that is violent, you can't come at them as a pacifist. They won't respect that energy, and that is going to overpower, right? So there's this sense here of needing to understand something fully to get to the next phase, but also like spirit creating some aspect of development for you that might scare you or freak you out a little bit or feel kind of icky, but it will be shed later. And that's existing to protect you in this birthing process of something new. Okay? And all of this is for a gaining of wisdom and embodiment of something new. When I was asking about how the pyramids relate to this, for a lot of you, this does have to do with literally interacting with Egyptian energies, like these very ancient energies. And there's actually a lot of different mystery schools that seem very unrelated that go back to those time periods, okay? You can look into that on your own. I'm not here to preach about that. But there is something to be said about this very ancient wisdom and needing to explore it for yourself and learn to embody certain things for yourself outside of, the direction that you thought you might have been heading to do that. I'm sure whenever Shiva incarnated in that lifetime, his plan wasn't to get his head cut off, but that was what needed to happen to get to the next thing. What's really interesting too here is the other thing about that story that's related is, the termites were sent to chew the bowstring and lead to this thing that seemed like a huge tragedy, but was actually a necessary step to the next thing. So there's this idea or feeling I have that the collective is going to have like something small that causes a chain reaction. And I feel like this is beginning for some of you. And this is Spirit's way of conveying to you, like, this is all okay, this is all part of the plan. The way that you react to this small thing that leads to a chain reaction might feel off at first, but it's part of the transition process to birth this new thing for you. And ultimately slay some demon, if you want to think of it that way. For some of you, it's a literal entity. And for some of you, this is more of a shadow, like a part of your shadow, a part of yourself that you haven't been able to alchemize or work through or transmute into the next thing. There's something about that is going to feel weird at first, and once you start getting moving in that energy, you'll shed that thing, just like the little horses, okay? So the next part of the message that came forward here is about needing to connect with the horses. Oh my God, look. Okay. Yep. Needing to connect with the horses. There is actually an Egyptian deity as well that is connected to the horses, and he's a rider. Okay, so for some of you, you may feel called to interact with this energy as well. But that's not the whole of the message, so I'm not going to linger on that right now. For a lot of you, there's some connection to horses here that's extremely important for your lineage. Whatever lineage you feel very connected with, whether it's Celtic, Hindu, English, Spanish, it could be anything. There's some kind of connection or folklore or something that's about horses or about equines, because it doesn't have to be horses, that's going to be very relevant for you. I'm hearing especially if you are Native American. So if that's like a part of your lineage, there's something about connecting to the horse spirit here and any legends that you have about horses that's extremely important for you. Yep, we have a donkey here as well. Yeah, pretty confusing message at the beginning, so, thank you for bearing with me as I explain that for those of you who stayed. Another thing that I'd like to just mention really quick is before I sat down, while I was lighting my candles and setting my intentions, I actually started getting a song from the original Dr. Doolittle stuck in my head, and I haven't thought about that in a long time. It was my favorite musical as a kid. I'm talking the one with the great pink sea snail, okay? Like, for those of you who know what that is, that's, it's a really good one. But anyway, there's this idea of, like, being told that something is mythological or something is, like, it's stupid to pursue something or foolish to pursue something or it's a waste of time or something like that. But it actually panning out to be this great discovery for you or for other people, because that was the plot of that movie. It's like everybody thought this man was insane, but really he was a genius and he figured out how to speak to animals scientifically in the original. And, I'm really sensing that energy for a lot of you. For a lot of you, it does actually have to do with communicating with the animals or having some like breakthrough about animal energies. I'm hearing like medicine or science for some of you. If you're like a vet, this could be especially relevant for you. Or there's one other thing to mention. This isn't for everybody, but if you're a vet or some kind of like physical therapist for animals, there's something here special for you. So let me know what you think of that in the comments if that part resonates for you. Okay. But the part of the dream message, and I guess the download I got after that about the Dr. Doolittle stuff, is one of the songs came into my head, and the lyrics of the song are, "Maybe what the doctor tells me isn't altogether true, but I love every tale he tells me. I can't think of any better ones, can you?" So, like, basically I'm taking this to mean if something really gets your attention, even if you're not sure of if you're not sure of how like relevant it is to you yet, or you're not sure how true it is yet, like pursue that regardless. That's what Spirit is saying. Like there's some kind of like rabbit hole that the divine is trying to take you down right now that's going to lead to something that is very true and is very honest and is very transformative for you and for other people. So we have both of the equine energies coming up, one after another here. We have the Knight of Swords and the Knave of Swords, which is the page here. So we have two sword energies facing off. There's some kind of communication that's coming in between you and somebody else that one person is coming off as either immature or not taken seriously, and the other is very brash, very brazen, and thinks that they know best. What I'm being told of this is it doesn't matter what this oppositional energy says, because you're coming up as the King of Wands with the Six of Wands, which is an energy of victory. The Six of Wands has come up in many, many of these readings recently as your ticket to freedom, your ticket out of your little hellhole that you might be stuck in as a part of your most recent divine mission. This may have landed you in a place that doesn't feel like home, or you're surrounded by people or situations that you don't feel resonate anymore. But what's going to happen is you will be led to the correct place for you through this transformative period, through this like rabbit hole exploration, okay? But you have to sit with the discomfort. You have to move through the discomfort and continue walking. You know, just like the baby horse, those like paddings that form on their feet are not going to come off unless the baby walks. It has to walk them off for a few days. And even though those paddings aren't made for walking, like they're not designed for that, I'm sure that doesn't feel right for them, but that's necessary. That's a part of it. And ultimately that is leading to the sun here. This is the happiest card in the deck. This is where you're meant to thrive and where you have this assured victory. In these other previous readings, this energy was coming through as no longer being behind enemy lines and returning to like your home base, so to speak, with people who will celebrate you and understand you. With the Lovers and the Devil both coming up in reverse here, we also have this feeling of oppositional forces within. That's what the Lovers can be about here. This is not an external lover. This is two parts of yourself that need to come into union, that have become out of balance because of ignoring a pattern that needs to be processed out. This was something that you might have developed within your personality as a way to cope with being over enemy lines, so to speak, and being around very difficult people or traumatic situations for a long time. This is the thing that's going to be transmuted out. We have the Knave of Pentacles here and the Nine of Cups reversed. There's a feeling of being stuck for a very long time here. And with the Three of Cups, maybe having a lot of other people around you who have made you feel stuck. It wasn't always an uncomfortable feeling not moving from where you were. It might have even been comfortable at one point. But, you know, with this Page of Pentacles and Three of Cups, there's this energy of wanting to be with people who are beginning the same path as you. Whatever transition it is you're turning over into, because I'm seeing a wheel turning over right now, almost like an engine or something. Whatever it is that's turning over, it's going to lead you somewhere else. And you're slowly transitioning out of maybe even a social group at this time. We're going to get some, let's see, get some archetypes, get a little bit more clarity here. Please let me be specific, Spirit. We have the Judge. So we have been talking about judgment coming in from the divine for a while. And this judgment comes with love. Agape. You know, that tells me this is divine judgment. This isn't you judging. By the way, guys, I forgot to introduce you to this. My partner got me this tiny little hammer. It's a tiny gavel. Justice. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm probably going to use it for different readings, but we'll get there. So we have this like divine justice energy coming in, right? And it's moving a lot of people out of this cyclical, what was I just saying about the wheel too? Out of this loop that's been going on of, you know, the inner child not being able to move past the original patterns that were established, or the original promises or agreements that were made in order to cope with living in a reality that wasn't working. Oh my God, we were talking about the horses. So we have the River with a horse on the card. The River is like, we're keeping it moving. There's a new threshold to cross here. And the thread talks about, you know, following that rabbit hole, literally following that string wherever it leads you. It's very important to do that. Spirit, can you please give me some more info about the rabbit hole? What is this concerning? Is this, because this is beyond trauma healing. This is like a step beyond that, because I feel that a lot of you have already not completed your trauma healing, because it's not ever over, right? But, you know, there's a certain thing that, there's a threshold that has to be crossed, I'm being told, in order to do the level of light work that you need to do here, that you're meant to do here, I guess. Yeah, stepping into this dragon energy. Wow. The sea serpent, a dragon. It's moving into this very empowered energy, right? And a very confident energy. The thing that they're saying really needs to be transmuted and turned over is really stepping into what actually brings you joy. I think that a lot of us here have been almost traumatized around things that actually bring us joy, because maybe we were the weird ones growing up or something, and everybody judged what actually made us joyful. And there's this sense of needing to shield that from the world. Not hide it, but also not reveal too much without knowing that the person's really safe. With friendships coming up here, there was always this barrier between your true heart of hearts and the friends that you were, I'm going to say, allowed to keep, because your guides were really trying to shield you from a lot of people who meant you harm. And now we're moving out of that. We're moving into these very, very valid and very honest friendships, where people are just as passionate about that thing as you, and there isn't going to be any more shielding or any more hiding. This is going to be like, take it or leave it. This is how I am. And if you don't like it, I'm a horse running forward, right? Like, people don't get in front of a stampede of horses. That's what's going to happen. That's going to be like the friendship energy you have. Like, you all will be running in the same direction with the same, like, force, right? It's a force to be reckoned with. That's what's going to be happening. And the horse spirits are overseeing this for the collective. That's why it's so important to really look into your dreams, and also like have more compassion for the part of yourself that had to be shielded for so long, and the part that's really joyful about things that make you happy. Because that is very difficult to have to hide that, you know? But you did it very gracefully, they're saying. They keep saying, like, whatever your lineage is, look into horses. There's something specific for, like, not only your physical, like, DNA lineage, you know, but also, like, the culture that you live around as well. You may not be part of this culture, but if you're, like, in it, that means those spirits are around you, right? But especially for DNA, because some of us, like, you know, there's certain parts of my background that I don't have cultural access to, you know, but I have ancestors around me. Spiritually, they're here, right? And they give me downloads about things. And it's the same for you. It's like that for everybody. How you'll know that this is a real, that this is like not something that's a distraction or something false, is the energy and the downloads will come through very serenely. Whether in dreams or visions or whatever, it will come in as a very calm energy. It will never be something that's upsetting or something that's like disturbing, you know? It's always going to be something that's calming, even if it's a really like intense message. It won't scare you. Look, peace. It'll be peaceful. And it'll also be very sincere. There's no more, you know, pulling punches. The guides are saying, like, we're giving it to you as it's meant to be. All right, guys, that is what I have for you today. I really hope that that serves you. I hope that you've gotten everything that you need to out of this message. I'm sending you all lots of love and peace. And thank you, horses, for bringing this message through. Thank you, Epona and Hayagriva. Definitely, you know, check out whatever connection to the horses that you have. Some of you even work with horses. Give them a pet for me if you do. I miss horses. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think. Bye.